Good morning, fellow students of life. Here we are in a classroom. It's called Planet Earth. And we live in a classroom that's made of Earth. So this body that we exist in, that we experience the world from, is Earth. And yet we are more sky. We're more higher level beings who have incarnated into Earth bodies. And we've learned how to function within these Earth bodies over time, and are continuing to learn how to function in these Earth bodies over time. And I woke up at 4 a.m, and I had been having an intuition that I ought to get back to the spiritual practice I had in 1996, that I was given to do the spiritual practice for 1 year prior to the incarnation of the being Abrahamanad on March 23rd of 1997, to be the soul of the earth for the next 13,000 years. Where the previous 13,000 years there had been a feminine being in the earth and a masculine energy surrounding the earth. Then in 1997, the feminine being left and the masculine being came in. And the masculine, I had a telepathic communication with the masculine being, and that being described to me how there would be a 28-year cycle of cleansing between the two 13,000-year cycles. So we've been in this 28-year cycle of cleansing for 27 years and 7 months. So we have little less than 5 months to go in this cleansing process. So I think it helps me, and it might help you, to understand that everyone's going through this. The vibration of the planet's going up for everyone. Everyone's experiencing it differently. Some people are having maybe a more difficult time or more experiences on a physical level, where they're maybe detoxing, finding things coming out of their skin or whatever, they might be going through a detoxing process. Other people may be just really working out their mental constructs and finding out that the way they've thought about the world isn't working for them, and that they need to change their minds. So a number of people, and we're doing all of these things, but a number of people are really kind of like unscrewing their heads and opening up their minds and beginning to perceive the world as it appears to them, not as they've been told it is. Because a lot of times we've perceived the world from our beliefs, and we've been told things about the world, and we've kind of projected that into the world. But now is a time where that's just not working. So we're unscrewing the lid on the jar of our mind. We're opening up our mind, and we're perceiving the world more clearly every day, which is very upsetting for some people, for me at times. But overall, I knew this was going on. I had a preview of coming attractions. I didn't know it was going to be as difficult as it has seemed. And then other people are just releasing emotions, just a lot of emotions, just coming out. Some people are cracking up. Some people are, having dark nights of the soul. I've had many of those over the past couple of years, times where I've just been struggling emotionally and then finally let the emotions go and finally came out the other side to a better place. So, no, it's a good chance if you're struggling emotionally and you eventually just let go of what you're struggling with, you'll come to the other side of it and quite possibly, probably be in a much better state in relationship to yourself and the world. And again, this is the cycle of spiritual cleansing. So a lot of kind of like questioning the religious beliefs that we've been given, questioning those, seeing how well or not well those are working or not working for us, kind of going through this consciousness struggle, opening, change that we're just not necessarily feeling all that comfortable with, because we need to let it go. We need to let all those constructs, all those concepts go and be present with ourself as the being that we are. Now, the being that we are is what is referred to as the deep self. So when you connect to your deep self, you're connecting to the truth of yourself at the deepest level. And then there's the truth of yourself at a higher level, although they're not higher or lower in terms of consciousness. It's one consciousness. So the deep self and the higher self are of one consciousness. The deep self, the higher self, and the highest self are of one consciousness. The whole cosmos is of one consciousness. One can feel separate from that and do things relative to that can be destructive for oneself and others. And yet, there is still this consciousness of one. This consciousness, all that is, I am that I am consciousness is still present, whether we identify with it or identify with the struggle we're having. So this morning, when I looked into the Mayan calendar to see what this was a day of, and I just realized that I didn't plug in the headphones, so hopefully I've been talking loud enough for there to be sound, and I'll go ahead and plug the microphone in, so maybe the sound will improve. We just don't know. Hopefully it was good enough in the beginning, but I'll be able to hear it, and I need to listen to what I just said. And maybe you'll like listening to it as well. So what we have today is we have tone number 12 of the 13 lunar tones, which is the crystal tone. And that is about the three words associated with it are dedicate, universalize, and cooperation. So 12 represents the maximum evolution of form. So we are form. So the maximum evolution of form, its attainment of complete complexity. And I would say we're pretty complex currently. Having dissolved rigidity in tone 11, the crystal tone 12 presents a higher order of coordination. So you get the dissolution of those structures, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual structures, the dissolution of those structures. And then you come into a place where you can take this higher order of coordination, offering complex stability, creative cohesion, and comprehensive vision. Here we perceive the coherency of the whole as a composition of related parts. Honoring the elaborate inner workings of life as a mandalic synthesis, Crystal Tone asks us to universalize, to translate our knowledge and insights that they may be universally applicable, relevant, and shareable with all, assisting the elevation of the common good. Tone 12 affirms that we ourselves embody the highest qualities of internal and social architecture, like a crystal with its unique facets that contribute to the totality of its beauty. So Tone 12 reminds us to honor and celebrate the diverse features and contributions of individuals, which constitutes the power of a strong, interdependent community. Tone 12 offers the recognition that in a healthy, whole system, the needs of the individual are met by the collective, and in return, the individual feeds the aspirations of the collective. May we strive to collaborate with one another, combining our gifts and enhancing our efforts, while remaining clear and lucid in the grace of our autonomy. And so today is a yellow crystal warrior. And the three words of the yellow warrior are questions, intelligence, and fearlessness. And there's a quote by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, who was a Tibetan Buddhist monk from a particular lineage. I think he passed away in 1987. But when we see from the Shambhala tradition, that was the tradition he started in Buddhism. So he created a whole nother branch or aspect of Buddhism called Shambhala, which is the perception that we're moving to this higher consciousness, and there's a way to come into that consciousness as that consciousness is emerging. So that's the Shambhala tradition. But one of the things that Chogyam Trungpa said was that fearless is not a reduction of fears, but rather the capacity to go beyond fear. Going beyond fear begins when we examine our fear. In the Shambhala tradition, discovering fearlessness comes from working with the softness of the human heart. The spirit of the yellow warrior invites us to access divine guidance, higher self, highest self, deep self. Circulate fresh analysis of our convictions to assure they represent our truths. And I didn't read this portion I'm reading right now, prior to the things I said in the beginning. There's just a flow going here. We're going through these big changes. We are looking at our convictions and questioning them, challenging them. Circulate fresh analysis of our convictions to assure they represent our truths. Confront uncharted terrain. Exercise keen awareness. This is waking up. Being woke is being hypnotized. Being awake is being unwoke. You're awakening from wokeness to presence and awareness, and not hypnosis. You're coming out of hypnosis into awakeness, into being awake, being present, being more in the central aspects of your body, being balanced, being grounded, and checking truth through your own monitor, not through what you're told. This is true, this is true, this is true. You go, well, wait a second. I have to check in with myself to determine what is true at the core of my being. Understand obstacles as opportunities to strengthen ourselves. Apply mindfulness, precision, and will. Question all appearances, reference points, and information to gain deeper insight and intelligence. Question and confront fears in order to release their hold and transcend them. Apply one-pointed focus and determination in cautiously proceeding towards goals while remaining unweighted by expectations. A warrior's strength is in how she responds. How will you channel the power of the yellow warrior? The yellow warrior glyph symbol resembles as a shield, communicating you are an agent of cosmic forces. Be at home in the cosmic question mark. And there's a question mark in the center of the glyph for yellow warrior. Integrate the three forces of mind, will, and spirit. Integrate them right here. To pick up the staff of galactic empowerment. And if you haven't gotten some of that staff over the last 10 days of galactic activation portals, it's not too late. You could just carry on, keep opening it up, keep opening it up, keep opening up, and keep becoming more of your true self, which is at the core of your being, that you experience every time you state out loud, I connect to my deep self. I'm going to have that be the end of this particular presentation because I want to show in the next one, I want to show you something that I was taught to do this morning by consciousness. Showed me how to do something that changed things for me, so I'm going to teach it to you in the next video. And with this video, I'll just say, Nowmustgo. And I hope this serves you well.